You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. Here in my hand. There's the paper. Verifying I got it. Muse, you want to confirm to the people listening that I got paper?
Can't confirm. Yeah, paper. I see it. I hear it. All the above.
Paper. And upon that paper are projected win totals from sportsbetting.ag for the 2024 college football season. We got win totals. Hit me with some college football music, Muse. Oh, yeah. The Big Ten on CBS college football theme. Gets you right in the subcockles of your heart, doesn't it, Muse? Don't you love it? The traditional Big Ten on CBS theme.
Traditional? Come on, not the traditional.
That's what it is.
It's their new theme.
It's the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl theme song is what that is.
That's traditional. It's the new theme, but it will always be the SEC on CBS theme to me.
It's the Army-Navy theme is what it is, Muse. It's the whatever crappy game you're watching on Tuesday night on CBS Sports HQ Network on channel 734 theme.
Because you got coin on the game.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Hey, no judgment here. And you know what? Sportsbetting.ag's got win totals for all those teams too, Muse. Let's run through the SEC, and then I'll tell you some big picture takeaways. All right, let's add some production value to this, if you would, Muse.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
First year without Nick Saban, and the Alabama Crimson Tide projected over under 9.5. Can you imagine what would happen in Tuscaloosa if they go 9-3 there, year one under Kalen DeBoer at Bryant Dennehy Stadium? Thank you. Last year, by the way, the projected win total for the Alabama Crimson Tide was 10.5. So, already a little bit of a knock there. Anyway, all right. Next.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas. Last year, their win total was over under 7.5. Didn't hit that. This year, their projected win total is 5.5 from sportsbetting.ag. Remember, new offensive coordinator Bobby Petrino. This is going to be it for Sam Pittman. I'm not sure Sam Pittman even makes it to the end of this football season. That would be somewhat stunning if he did. All right, next up.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn, year two under Hugh Freeze. A year ago, they opened at 6.5. This year, Auburn, 7.5. We'll see if they can bump up that win total year to year there under Hugh Freeze on the Plains.
The Florida Gators.
Well, this should be it for Billy Napier as well. I don't think Billy Napier makes it to November when LSU plays Florida. Florida's projected win total a year ago was 5.5. And, of course, they finished sub 500. Florida's projected win total this year, 5.5, yet again. So, Billy Napier, if there's not dramatic improvement, and when you look at their schedule, it's hard to imagine that there will be, will not make it through this season.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
All right, two-time defending national champ Georgia Bulldogs that didn't even make the playoffs this season because, you know, they lost the SEC championship game, so all of a sudden they weren't one of the four best teams in college football. Their projected win total a year ago, 11.5. Of course, they went over. We're 12-0 in the regular season. This year, down a scotch to 10.5 is where sportsbetting.ag is projecting the Bulldogs here, which, by the way, is the high water mark in the SEC, but they do share that number. We'll get to that in a smidge.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Mark Stoops, disappointing season a year ago when it felt like there was a kind of a wide open SEC East behind Georgia. Their projected win total, though, was only 6.5 a year ago. That's right. Well, they will open up again this year. Kentucky projected win total over under 6.5 with yet another transfer quarterback.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Are we just skipping LSU?
Well, I didn't have I don't have a thing, so I thought we were. We can go to LSU though. You want me to do it?
Well, I'm not going to do it.
All right. The LSU Tigers.
Last year, Brian Kelly year 2 over under 9.5. Precisely where Brian Kelly and the Tigers will open up this year. Projected win total 9.5. With a decided more difficult schedule, rehauling the defensive side, as we know, no Jaden Daniels, no Malik Neighbors, no Brian Thomas. So a lot of work to do. Can they build upon the 9-3 regular season from a year ago? We'll find out.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Well, kind of went out of order a little bit because Mississippi is next, as they're known.
Sorry, I'm looking at it with the O. My bad.
Yeah. Now I have to go find where they are. All right, State last year, year 1 under Barry Odom. I'm sorry, year 1 under Zach Arnett, who got fired. Excuse me. Their projected win total was 4.5. Decidedly less under Jeff Lebby. 4.5 is the projected win total for Mississippi State.
The Missouri Tigers.
Oh, you'll go to Ole Miss next. Okay, I got it.
Okay. Sorry, yeah.
You're just all out of whack. That's okay. Missouri, one of the big risers in college football a year ago with their 10-win regular season. Of course, they won the Cotton Bowl. A year ago, Missouri was projected 6.5, went well over that number, one of the best in college football. This year, it's been the total has been adjusted in kind. 9.5 is the projected win total now for Missouri. Can Eli Drinkwitz replicate the success of a year ago? One of the bigger questions, not only in the SEC, but in all of college football, because if they can, they would be a playoff team in a 12-team playoff.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
There we go. The Lane train. Last year, Lane and the Rebs. There it is. Last year, we're all out of order. Last year, they're 7.5. This year, after a 10-win regular season and 11-win season, the first in program history, Ole Miss is projected at 9.5. 9.5 is the projected win total for Ole Miss this year. Obviously, you got Jackson Dart back. No Quinshon Judkins, but one of the top 2 transfer portal classes in the country alongside Ohio State. This is a year where Ole Miss is all in, and Vegas is projecting there at 9.5.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
Oh, good job, Muse. Way to be on top of it. This, for me, was one of my biggest takeaways. Oh, look at Paulie. He had a graphic ready to go. I like it. So last year, year 2, with Brent Venables, Oklahoma took a step forward after a disappointing year 1 under Brent Venables. But last year, their total was 9.5. First year in the Southeastern Conference, the Oklahoma Sooners are projected to go over under 7.5 wins. Remember, Oklahoma does come to Baton Rouge. That, for me, is one of the biggest takeaways. Because when you look at all these win totals, where teams that are switching conferences are projected is very telling about what they are projected to do in their new league as opposed to their old one. So Oklahoma, a year ago, was projected at 9.5. They come into the SEC, dock 2 full games on their preseason projection. It would be a massive step back for Brent Venables if they can't get into contention for the playoff there in year 3.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
So Shane Beamer was one of the more disappointing stories, the Gamecocks, a year ago. Their projected win total of 6.5 last season, and they just went face down in the dirt. And the Oddsmakers have adjusted. 5.5 is the projected win total for the Gamecocks this season.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Tennessee, after a marvelous year 2 seasons ago, took a step back this past season. Now the threat of sanctions, a new quarterback yet again for Tennessee with no Joe Milton. Tennessee there is projected at 8.5 this year on Rocky Top, so they are backsliding a bit there, it would appear, under Josh Heupel. That's a heavy lift there.
The Texas Longhorns.
All right, this is the other one of great consequence because Texas is alongside Georgia at a projected win total of 10.5. So Texas and Georgia, according to sportsbetting.ag, are your preseason co-favorites to have the best record in the Southeastern Conference.
Texas A&M!
First year under Mike Elko. This is I found very interesting. A year ago under Jimbo, all of the pollsters were still buying the Aggie hype, but the odds makers were not. Last year, A&M's projected win total was over under 7.5 in the preseason. The early number for Mike Elko in year 1, How about 8.5? A game better, despite all of the transfers, all of the defensive exodus there in College Station. Yes, you're going to get Connor Wegman back off of injury, but you went into last year thinking Connor Wegman was your quarterback. Could be a bumpy year one there, but that's more of a condemnation, I think, on Jimbo than anything else.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Yeah, just because. There you go. It's 2.5. What do we think? Vandy over under 2.5?
Yeah, we'll give them over. They can win 3 non-conference games.
Paulie, Vandy over under 2.5?
I'm going under.
Let's look at the Vanderbilt schedule. I don't know what it is.
I also don't know what it is.
All right, here we go. Vanderbilt's 2024 football schedule. Here we go. Oh, Virginia Tech in Nashville.
That's rough.
And by the way, Virginia Tech, remember, returns the most production of any team in college football this year. Virginia Tech, most returning production. Number 1 in the country returning production. So that's an L. They play Alcorn out of the SWAC, so that's a dub. They're at Georgia State. New coach, as we just learned.
Yeah.
Sean Elliott's out.
I'll give Vanderbilt the win there. Actually.
That's on the road.
Yeah, I know. I'll
in
give
Atlanta.
Vanderbilt the win.
Okay. At Missouri.
And of course not.
Open date.
They'll beat the open date.
Bama.
That's
at
an
Kentucky.
L.
Ball State.
I'll give them a win against Ball State.
So you're at 2. Texas, at Auburn, South Carolina, open date, at LSU, Tennessee. It's the right number. It's the right number. 2.5 is the right number. Can you beat Alcorn, Georgia State, and Ball State? If they get those 3, they go over the number. Hope they can.
No love for an upset over the Hokies potentially?
No.
I mean, they're not Virginia Tech's not good either.
Not at all. All right. LSU projected win total 9.5, exactly where it was. Thank you. Exactly where it was a year ago at 9.5. And I think it's right. You may not like it, but I think it's right. LSU has one of the most difficult schedules in college football. You got to open up against SC at a neutral site. You do have UCLA rotate on, although that does get lighter now with Chip Kelly leaving and really having an exodus of talent there at Westwood. Ole Miss. You got Bama on the schedule, of course. You've got Florida and Texas A&M. You got a road trip to South Carolina. Oklahoma rotates on, although Oklahoma's projected at 7.5. That is a home game for LSU. There's a lot of landmines all over that schedule. 9.5 feels right. If LSU could go over and get to 10, they're a playoff team against that schedule. But that is going to be a heavy lift for Brian Kelly here in year 3. No Jaden Daniels, no Malik Neighbors, no Brian Thomas. You're losing a ton of offensive production. Your defense was one of the worst in the country last year. You've got to be better because it'd be hard to be worse. But how do you replace your offensive star power? How much better is your defense? The answer to those 2 questions determine what LSU's 2024 season will be. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.